everybody, Mrs. Hales here with another art lesson. Today we're going to start a 2-day project that is a magazine cover design for summer. So think about, there is a magazine called Virginia Living, and it's a magazine all about Virginia, and that's kind of the inspiration for this project. And I made my magazine cover, I wanted it to look like an illustration, so like it was hand-drawn, and I wanted it to look like my summer bucket list. So we're going on a lot of road trips to look at colleges for my oldest daughter, and then we're going to the beach, and then we're going camping in West Virginia. And I like to ride my bike, and I like to work in the yard. So those are all things that I included in my summer bucket list. So you could approach this project in a couple different ways. You're trying to sell some things to do if you want your magazine cover to be a design for Virginia Living, or if you want your magazine cover to just be a design for summer somewhere, then you could approach it like that. So you want to think of what kinds of illustrations you could draw that relate to summer and different activities and things that people like to do in the summer. So think of it as like your advertising for summer. All right, let me show you how I got started. The first thing I did was to make a list of all the things that we're doing this summer, or that I want to do this summer, or that I know that we're going to do. Then I drew a bucket on my large white piece of paper, and inside that bucket I decided to put illustrations of most of these things. Like I picked gardening, and I'm taking a jewelry class, and we play a lot of games, so I put some playing cards on there. I could have put a checkerboard or pictures of some of the other games that we do. But like, let's say you're gonna go to King's Dominion and maybe go to Virginia Beach or the beach somewhere, and you're gonna play some video games. Well, you are there, right there. You have 3 things that you could make into illustrations and put on your bucket if you wanted to do a bucket. I just liked the idea of a bucket because it gave me a place to put my illustrations. I also like the idea of some of my images outside of the bucket. So like the bicycle, you can't tell if it's riding into the bucket or if it's on the paper. And then that little road beneath the bucket, that's kind of like where our road trip begins, or where our summer begins. So my bucket is going to look different than yours, or however you decide. I don't mind if you want to use the bucket idea, because I think that's a good design idea and it gives you a place to start. But you don't have to use the bucket idea to put your illustrations on there. But you are going to want it to be a rectangle, or on a rectangle in some way. So you could use the shape of the paper, and that could be your magazine cover, or you could draw a smaller rectangle to be your magazine cover on your white paper if you want. Once you get all your illustrations drawn in pencil, then you're going to want to go over them with either black crayon or Sharpie. I think a Sharpie is better for this project because it just gives you a little bit finer detail, drawing ability. I put some zinnias and some snap peas in there because I'm also going to be working in my garden this summer. So I'm going to be trying to grow the flowers that my dog didn't dig up. So I wanted to put those coming out of the bucket. You don't have to have anything coming out of the bucket, or it might be cute to have like some water in the bucket and then have a little floaty tube with a little person sitting in there floating. That would be cute. I just thought of that. Okay, so however you want to organize your illustrations is totally fine. I'm thinking for your bucket to be interesting, you probably need to have at least 5 or 6 different little illustrations on there. Or you could have one illustration of like the beach with like a hotel or a beach house, and then people on the beach, people floating in the ocean, people surfing, different things like that. If you wanted to organize it with a bunch of different things within one scene, you could definitely do that. Supplies you need for today are just a 12 by 18 piece of white drawing paper, a pencil, an eraser, and a black Sharpie. The goal for today is to get all your illustrations done and go over them with black Sharpie. So to recap, you're making a summer illustration. So it's an illustration about a summer bucket list. Remember, a bucket list is something that you want to do, some stuff that you want to do in your lifetime. But in this case, it's this summer. So everybody's is going to look a little bit different, and that's fine. It depends on where you live and what your interests are and what you do with your family or your friends. So everybody's bucket or everybody's illustration is going to look a little bit different. So next class, we will add color to these. Be thinking about if you want to use markers or colored pencils. I used markers with mine, and I used some colored pencil just in the background where I wanted my bucket to be blue. But I mainly use markers. So be thinking about that, and I will see you next class.